Folks, it is Friday night. Welcome into the show. I'll be your host tonight, Donnie Rightside, with my partner in crime, at Jeff Nadeau on Twitter, the big man on campus. This is the late night on campus. Once again, a draft edition. We're going to spend the majority of the show. Don't have any timelines tonight that we need to meet. So we're going to spend some time on the draft. Of course, we're going to look over the Major League Baseball ticket to see how that's doing. NBA ticket as well, along with some NHL. But Jeff, tonight is about the draft. I'm excited. It's a lot of fun. More twists and turns. Great players going off the board. Great players still on the board. I saw you put out a mock draft today. Talk about it to us, big man.
Yeah. I put out the mock draft, did an article for SBR, and it was fun. I mean, I sat here for a while and kind of got to know all these players, kind of saw plenty of normal names, and it's something that I'll continue to do. It's something that and that's kind of where when people say to me, like, how do you know about all this stuff? How do you learn? Just doing stuff like that. I mean, you really start to get to know things and find things out. And, I get the first two picks right, and then all the trades started to happen. So it's tough. I mean, it's tough to do those without trades and things like that. But a lot of interesting things went on, and I'm sure we'll talk about it here.
Yeah, no, a lot of fun. And I mean, just being an Eagles fan or being an NFL fan, whatever your team is, the one good thing about the draft is every year you just hope your team has a pick, in every round, where it's fun when they trade up when it's draft day, but when you give up a pick in the next year's draft, you give a first, a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth. It's always fun. And it's good to see Philadelphia put in the good light. Jeff, we've lived in the city. We've been around the city. We know the city. It's a fantastic city. It's a very passionate city. A lot of stuff does get overgrown, but it's good to see that Philadelphia hosting the draft, packing it in there, beautiful weather, beautiful location. Good to put the city in a good spotlight for us there.
Yeah, it has. And, I know if you're not a fan of the Eagles, you don't like some of the things they do, but we're the host. So, there's going to be fly, go fly chants and things like that. And look, I can agree. I mean, the fly, go fly chant can get a little corny, but
come on. Hey, come on.
It is. I mean, I'm not going to, I'm just being honest. I mean, it's kind of lame, but the Rocky music's cool, and like just kind of the vibe. It's a great atmosphere, and it's nice to have it in the city, and you're hearing a lot of good feedback from it. So,
and I almost have my Christmas present in the second half, which we'll get to as it runs down. So I don't want to give anything away. Jeff, before we get to the draft, which we're going to spend a majority of the night on, have a lot of fun. What do you say we just hit the baseball card ticket real quick to give the people some updates out there?
Sure. Yeah, we can go through the games. No biggie.
Interesting one that we start off today, Jeff. Pittsburgh and Miami. Jamison Tyone, certainly not surprised that he gave up one run, but Miami still in jet lag mode, 11-1. And it wasn't even close right off the bat. I really didn't see this one coming. I mean, obviously, we told each other and the people out there, stay away from this game, don't have much on it. But my God, 11-1, pounding by Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, look, the jet lag thing's a good point. I mean, Adam Conley was awful. But, yeah, I mean, this is kind of one of the reasons I don't back teams off road trips. I mean, it's just not a good spot. But look, no one figured Pittsburgh would score 11 runs tonight. So, this one was, if you had the Marlins, it's a tough spot for you. But yeah, I mean, Tyone's really good. I mean, he's a really good pitcher. And Conley, the concern with Conley was I had the no score first inning in this game, and it was one of those.
Jordy Mercer gets you, right?
Yeah,
1-0.
Brutal, man. Brutal little solo. But, yeah, a bad outcome if you had the Marlins here.
Yeah. Next one on the docket there, another interesting one, which turned out, maybe not the overall score, the overall score, 7-5, 12-run score with an over-under of 7.5, the New York Mets and the Washington Nationals. Scherzer got lit at home right from the jump. Top of the ninth as they head into it, 7-5 here. So certainly surprised in that one. The New York Mets, as banged up and injured as they were, going down on the road and pounding Scherzer in his home ballpark, sort of a little bit of eye-opening there.
Yeah, figures, of course. I mean, as soon as I talk bad about the Mets, they score 7 runs. But, yeah, I mean, look, Max Scherzer didn't pitch well tonight. And, again, I'm not sure why with the bases loaded, if you're Dusty Baker, you bring in Jacob Turner. I'm not exactly sure. Again, this bullpen is bad. I mean, they're going to continue to call. They're going to be the downfall, I think, of the Washington Nationals. They have to go out and make a move because, like the Cubs last year, remember the Cubs had issues with their bullpen?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They went out and got Aroldis Chapman. They made some moves. Why do you let Mark Melancon go? I mean, what was the reasoning behind that? I
agree with you on that one.
I mean, so, again, you put Jacob Turner in the game with the bases loaded. What are you thinking there exactly?
Yeah, I mean, that's what you get. I mean, just another interesting one. The line opened up at 150, actually dipped back a little bit. So maybe some late steam hit that New York Mets game, and it looks like it was the correct side. Next one we'll get to, Jeff. One that we laugh at again, and Bartolo Colon. I mean, it's funny. You're big. You're a big guy. You know, you don't really work out. You throw like 83 miles an hour. You know, you give up a 6 spot to Milwaukee on the road. Is anybody? So the one thing I'm actually surprised with is that Chase Anderson, who's been pitching really well, has given up 4 runs through 6 innings. But no surprise that Bartolo Colon's getting shelled, is there, Jeff?
No, he sucks. I mean, I don't know how else to spin this. I mean, I don't know how much I have to pound into people's heads that Bartolo Colon sucks. I mean, he sucks. He doesn't have it. It's like hitting a fucking beach ball. It's like a soccer ball or a softball. It doesn't surprise me, no, but it does surprise me that Chase Anderson gave up 4 runs. But you know what? I knew Colon would give up more. So yeah, over was a good play if you had it.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to actually read the box score in that, Jeff. Thames or any Braun, anybody do any damage in that? That's any of note to put up that 6 runs?
Thames actually did have a hit. He had a walk as well. He had a run. He didn't have any RBIs, though. Ryan Braun, 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. So they continue to produce at that 2-3 spot. This Brewers team's pretty damn good right now. I wouldn't be betting against them.
No, definitely, especially a live dog in a lot of instances there. Next game up on the docket, Cincinnati, Jeff, with Edelman grabbed a quick 1-0 lead versus St. Louis with Lynn on the mound, but they since given that back. It's not really a surprise there. Lance Lynn's been very good this year, 4-1 in the bottom of the 6th. Line came back a little bit in reverse there, but steam was wrong on that one, it looks like. So 4-1. I don't know how much Cincinnati would have left in the tank, but Lynn looks like he's in control of that game, no doubt.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier on the show, St. Louis is playing really good baseball right now. They wouldn't be a team that I would get in front of just because, they come in spurts. They're a team that, when they're hot, you probably want to ride them. And Lance Lynn's their guy right now. So for me, yeah, I leaned Cardinals in this game. It's nice to see that they actually win a game when I say they will.
Yeah, no, we'll keep it going down the list there. See what we have next. Just started the game. Colorado and Arizona 1-0 in the top of the 2nd. Colorado has the lead there, so not too much to report back on. Game of the night that I had, put out a video on it again. Just having a lot of fun in the month of April, just turning the public on itself. I went with the Tampa Bay Rays plus 120, sitting up 6-3 in the top of the 9th inning. Nobody out, 1st and 3rd for Tampa. So hopefully they can put a few more runs on the board so we don't need anything else after that. So if that does prevail, that'll be 22-9 with over half of those plays being dog plays in Major League Baseball. So a lot of fun if you've been following along, and hopefully we look to cash in on yet another ticket tonight, downing on those Toronto Blue Jays coming off that doubleheader heartbreaker, getting on a plane, going home. Not much environment there. Nobody's excited for that team. Tampa Bay, bad on the road, comes in. Looks like they're going to sneak out with a nice little victory here, Jeff.
Yeah, I didn't have much in this game. Good for you that you hit your play. I had nothing on this game. I'm not interested in the Rays on the road, and I'm not interested in Tampa or Toronto in general. So yeah, this was a game that I had nothing on, no interest in it. Good job.
Funny. I mean, just looking at betting indicators in April, I mean, I've taken the smallest amount that I've ever taken in actually putting mind power behind plays and digging in. All I did this entire month was use a couple indicators, and the public just leads you right down the path. I want to say it's going to continue all year long, but we know everything comes back and changes and reverses back. But hell of a time in the month of April. I hope it continues for at least the next couple days there, but we'll take it. They go up 7-3 with nobody out in the 9th inning. A lot of fun, man. My God.
I'm gonna just say this, Donnie.
Yeah.
It's just my opinion. I don't think you should gloat about this record. I don't. Just saying.
I mean, I've put everything out there. Everybody has it, and the money's there to prove it.
But I agree. Yeah. All I'm saying is you didn't handicap it, right?
No, I mean, I take time, the least amount of time, because you know me, Jeff. There's no, and I preface this again. I'm glad we have people listening here. You're a moron if you're out here in April taking favorites. You're a moron in September if you're betting the NFL. Guys, take a month off. Let it all settle in. And if you don't want to cap in the month of April or September out there, just let the public handle it. Everybody on Twitter loves this play. Fade it. If you look at the tickets coming in, these indicators tell you exactly what's going on. The public can't win early. They just don't know. Use it against them. It's great.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, I'd never bet that way, but I haven't bet either. So I'm just saying, I'm not going to knock. I'm not going to tell someone how to spend their money.
I love it. 22-9, just using the public against itself. It sort of gets a laugh too,
But,
because
I mean,
about every play I put out is against 90% of Twitter, and they're all dogs crushing it. It's awesome.
Yeah, not for nothing, Donnie. Again, this is my opinion. I didn't really see many people on the Tampa Bay Rays today.
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, yeah, it worked out. You know what I mean? What did it close at? Let me see what the closing tickets on that
was
were.
anyone
40,
really on
it was actually 48%. So almost 50-50 actually ended up on that game. So there were some creatures out there lurking today.
Yep.
But a lot of fun. Let's keep it moving because we want to get to the draft. And I see it's firing picks off left and right. I don't think, Jeff, the Eagles have gone in the third round. Correct me if I'm wrong. 99. Okay. So let's keep it moving here. Next game up on the docket, another one, a blistering game, which I would have thought would have meant more under than over. Gausman Sabathia, 11-8 in the bottom of the ninth. One thing, the bats did come out in the Bronx, but my goodness, did they come out.
Yeah, I was all dead wrong on this game. And, this is a public play that came in, of course. That's what I find interesting about your little system there, because I thought this was a public bloodbath probably. But, it was a good – if you had the over here, good for you. And look, I mean, who would have thought that it was Sabathia? I mean, that's 2 straight bad starts for Sabathia, Donnie, by the way.
Yeah, it is. No, you're right about that, Yeah.
I guess we didn't think it would last forever. But a wild game tonight. 19 runs and counting, maybe even more at this point. It seems like it's changed every couple minutes.
Everything going wild, yeah.
Grand slam from Jacoby. Maybe there'll be a little luck here for the Yankees at the end. Doubt it, though.
Yeah, Tom Moreno, good point on there. If you're just fading the public, like if you go down the card and just take every underdog, you're only good. It's destined to go 50-50. If you use a couple indicators there, you can increase your percentage just by reading what the public is on. But yes, if you're just saying, I'm going to take every single dog on the card, no doubt, you'd be lucky to go 50-50. You probably go under 50% because
it's good for like stretches, like he's doing
certain stretches. You're right. Yes, which is why I've preached all April. That's what I use in April.
But even like into June and July. I mean, even one a day. If you could just find one a day, there's usually one a day on the card.
You're right, and we'll use that. We're going to have that philosophy out there. The same way we always do. You know how I do it, Jeff. It's usually one play max, maybe 2 if it's there, and we'll find it there, and I'll win more than not. Same way you do. I mean, when you put your mind to it, you have a whole entire slate to look at. We've been doing this a long time. We've been pretty good at it. So hopefully, it would be great if you can go 22-9 every month. But I'm a gambler. I know it doesn't happen.
By the way, if you have if you have the Yankees, I mean, this game's pretty live right now. I mean, bottom 9.
Yeah, give me a heads up on that. What is
first and third, no outs. Bottom 9, Yankees. In business here. I'll root this in. This would be a great an insane comeback. I mean, they were down. What were they down? I think 11-5. I think
the grand slam brought it to 8 runs or 9 runs. So they were down a good 7-8 runs at one point, I think.
Yeah, it got really ugly. But we'll see what happens. I'm sure I just jinxed it. But interesting game in where we at here.
Next one, we talked about it, Jeff, and I was too chicken to take it. You know which way we're going on this one.
The White Sox, yeah.
The White Sox 5-3 in the top of the ninth. I mean, Pelfrey on the mound. Everything was there. We talked about it earlier. I was too chicken. I didn't take it. You probably fired on that game, but it's funny that it actually worked out there when we both liked that game. That's awesome.
Plus 117, Donnie.
That's pretty awesome.
You know what, Donnie? What did I say? If Pelfrey could give you 5 innings, I think you were going to be in business. He gives you 4 2/3.
Yep.
Gives up 3 earned runs, but I guess we'll take it, right?
No, I mean, we talked again. That was great because the chat box, everybody was waiting. Chicago White Sox coming up. We're going to fade Pelfrey, and all of a sudden you said, you know what? Not today. And it was beautiful. Or at least, the way it looks right now. And again, the bullpen for the White Sox has been fantastic. They're going to come in to close this one out, or at least try to close it out. So it's not one of those games where you're shaking in your boots like it's Detroit or even Toronto for that matter that's coming in. So it looks like you're in the driver's seat for sure in that one.
And how about, Donnie, the Seattle Mariners, who I mentioned the team total under in this game, a 3.5, and I thought it'd be on the losing end where they wouldn't score any runs and it would come in, but it still came in and they won.
You're right.
And that's, again, another indication where the Cleveland Indians.
Jeff. 11, fellas.
Boom. Who hit a home run?
It was Starlin Castro.
Starlin! Boom!
Holy cow. Good grief.
Stalling.
By the way, Robinson, I'm not even sure. Is the White Sox is closer still Robertson?
Yes.
Okay. I haven't seen it. The games I've been watching, there hasn't been any closing situations in there, so figured it might have been there. How about that 11-11? What a comeback. They got to be wild, man. Bleacher creatures out there. Jesus.
Starlight, Starbright. Boom. How about that?
11-11, extras in order, but a lot of the times you see when it's, there's only one out still in the bottom of the ninth, Jeff, so, there's a lot more to go.
I just got one thing to say. Track, whoa, see ya.
The Yankees. By the way, in this, another big one, this game might be a little bit different if Zach Britton's in the game here, you know what I mean? So, catching little breaks here and there, a little bit of injuries, get what you get.
Starlight, Starbright, Starlight.
That was a rocket, too. One-knee blast. Next game on the docket here, Jeff. 3-3, Skaggs-Martinez. It's about what you had. I mean, I really had this one as a coin flip. Didn't have much on it, so it looks like it's turning out the way it's supposed to. Not a ton of runs, being with only 6 so far. Over-under closed at 9.5. Wind was blowing in a little bit, but not too much expected. Wasn't real excited about that game anyway, so.
Yeah, two shitty pitchers. I thought it'd be a little bit more high scoring, but a game that was kind of coin flippy to me. So,
by the way, Kevin Pillar tonight, does he have 100 hits for the Blue Jays? I'll be damn. Wow.
And it's done nothing.
Houston, Oakland, 6-4. Charlie Morton, Jarrell Cotton, Jeff. I think the luster is worn off him. Kid had one good start, I believe, so far in the year. Back to normal, back to reality. 8.5 is the total, and that one covered it with ease, rolling in the 6th inning. So, not too much I had on that game. I don't think you had much on that game as well. Not a real big fan of backing Charlie Morton, and certain backing Charlie Morton over 160 at that point.
Yeah, Morton's actually pitched decent. I mean, 4 runs isn't great, but he struck out 10 batters, which
did he tonight struck out 10? How about that?
Yeah, I got to tell you, and this is just my opinion. I think the Oakland Athletics may have the worst lineup in baseball. Like their lineup's bad. Really,
I always root for them. I know. I always root for them.
I mean, other than Chris Davis, they literally have nothing. That lineup's poor. We did miss a game, Donnie, up in Fenway. Cubs making a little comeback. It was 5-3. It's now 5-4. Bottom 8. So the Cubs have one more option. And I just want to come out and say it. I'm fucking sick of Kyle Schwarber. I'm fucking sick of him.
In the leadoff spot, the super fast
He is brutal. I mean, 212 average tonight, 2 strikeouts in big spots. He's brutal, man. If I'm a Cubs fan, I'm pretty.
Jeff,
annoyed.
I know we've talked about it earlier. I'm not a big fan of Joe Madden in many situations, but can you please explain to me the pitcher in the 8th spot, and then you're going to bat, a guy technically with a lot of power and no speed really whatsoever. Why does he bat in the leadoff? Isn't it just an anchor to start your lineup off?
Yeah, but you see that a lot anymore with baseball. You see a lot of kind of big guys kind of in the whole lineup thing anymore. It's just kind of all over the place. I mean, yeah, it's weird. I don't get it either, but Joe Madden, I guess, is Joe Madden. I guess you're supposed to bow down to whatever he does, but it's not something that I would do personally.
Hey, by the way, Jeff, Chicago White Sox just popped up on my indicator, up now 7-3. Anybody out there in the chat box or anybody know what you're Tim, there you go. Good call, Robinson. I was just asking about Tim Anderson with a blast. Somebody mentioned him on the show earlier.
Yeah, somebody did.
Good call, man. You're all over that White Sox game today, brother.
Yeah, I'm loving it, dude. I'm loving it. This White Sox team, they hit lefties, Bo. They hit lefties.
Next up, Jeff, I thought this was going to be a runaway, finally breakout offensive path for Kansas City. I believe they had 3 runs after 3 tonight. It's the top of the 7, Jeff. They still have 3 runs. One Kyle Gibson out there. I mean, for him, I guess that would be considered throwing a gem.
I mean, I'm telling you, Kansas City at home is a decent bet. I'm telling you. I bet them tonight as well because, again, when I tell you something about scenarios, it's every time. And, they're holding on to a lead. We'll see how it goes. It's 3-2 at this point, and, they definitely need more runs. But, I won't count my chickens yet, but hopefully they can hold this lead off here. And look, Gibson wasn't that bad. I mean, but the Royals just continue to struggle. I mean, you only get a couple runs off Kyle Gibson. Not good enough. You only have 5 hits, but hopefully they can finish it out here.
Yeah, as I say, that's baseball. Another update there. Lance Lynn and the St. Louis Cardinals up 6-1 now heading into the top of the 7th, and 12-2 in Pittsburgh. So
interesting developments down in Washington, 7-5 Mets. However, Washington kind of making it interesting here.
All right, let's get it on.
Runner on, no outs. Adam Lindup, 3-2 count. If he can get on, Familia is in some hot water, I feel like. So we'll keep abreast of that.
Nobody out. Yeah, how about that?
Would anyone be surprised with a walk-off here? I wouldn't.
The way it looks like it's going on tonight. Yeah, look at that. 1st and 3rd, nobody out, 7-5.
There you go. There you go. Must have been a single.
Here we go.
Interesting. And then obviously you have 2 late games, Philadelphia and the Dodgers. I mentioned Dodgers. I thought were in a good spot in this one. That one's scoreless, bottom 1. San Diego, San Francisco. That one has just gotten underway. So, draft or not draft central, it's MLB central right now. Can the Yankees walk it off? Can the Washington Nationals come back? It would be the night of the comebacks. Can the Toronto Blue Jays come back? There's a lot of questions, Donnie, to still be answered.
It's funny too, because I don't know where they're at in the Adam Eaton's up there, so somebody's lurking only 2 batters away, also in the dugout, and there's no out. So theoretically, Bryce Harper's probably going to get a shot in this one, either to tie it, win it, or do some damage here. So
interesting development down in Miami. A run is ensued by the Miami Marlins. They have scored a run. It is 12-2. Bottom 8, bases loaded. Great point, Robinson. He's corresponding down in Miami. Dade
Eaton just beats out it. Oh, Eaton's hurt really bad on his knee, it looks like.
Did he beat it out?
He beat it out. He might have blew his knee out. Yeah.
Dude, he beat it out. Nice job.
I'm sure they scored a run on that, although they're showing – wait a second. They're showing bases loaded, nobody out. So he beat that play out, but it doesn't look like
they're not going to test it. It's Matt Wieters. So
yeah, he's down.
We'll see what happens. But yes, Donnie, let's transition. NBA.
Yep, go ahead, big man. Take the lead on there.
Yeah, if you had the Bulls tonight, which I hope you didn't, because we told you you probably shouldn't take the Bulls. They were cooked and dead and buried. And you look at that score tonight, Donnie, and they haven't came to play tonight. They're getting absolutely murdered in the second half. 1:22 left. They have 81 points. A whimper like that, and the series is over. Remember when the series was 2-0, Donnie?
2-0. It's a wrap. And I was saying they stink. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the next day, hey, by the way, Rondo's out. And they're like, oh, well, they're still up 2. They'll probably get 1 at home and still play well. It's been an ass kicking ever since the Rondo injury.
Shout out to you sick individual Bostonians that put in a live bet on the series play. Great job if you did.
By the way, a lot of live tweets out there back saying Brad Stevens is coaching for his job. This is embarrassing. There you go.
Okay. I'm not sure how, but okay.
Yeah, that was the remarks up there. Brad Stevens is coaching for his job. They're down 0-2. They're going to be out of the series. If they lose the series, do you move on from Brad Stevens?
Yeah, one of the best coaches,
the best and brightest out there, exactly.
And they're talking about getting rid of him. I mean, that group of people is so far
First
away.
Of all, exactly. Like if it was one city that you could have patience in at least one sport, wouldn't it be Boston? Everybody's won. So if you have a down year, you have a really good young coach, but he hasn't won it yet, get rid of that guy. Like that would be the one city. Like, hey, take your time, brother. You know what I mean?
Dude, I hate Boston. I hate that group of people. By the way, if you watched NBA tonight, blowout city. It was a good night for the NBA because no one watched it. Washington crushed the Atlanta Hawks, and the streak is over, Donnie. A home team did not win and cover. Washington hammers the Atlanta Hawks, but it doesn't surprise me because it seemed like everyone was on Atlanta, including me. I mentioned I like them as well. But 1 out of 1 ain't bad. We don't really have much to talk about in the NBA because it was awful.
NHL, Nashville, St. Louis, 2-2 tied up, heading down the stretch in the third period. Looks like about 6 minutes to go in that one. So that'll wrap up. And we'll stop in, once these games become final just to give you updates. But I know the big man worked very hard today, as if you guys saw around there on Twitter with SBR putting out a mock draft for the second round. Did you do the third round also, Jeff, or just the second?
I did not do the third round. I would have. I just ran out of time,
Yeah. Now, I tuned in for most of it. I had another show I had to do, so I haven't caught up. But this is what big man does best here, very knowledgeable in the situation. So we're going to go ahead and go down these picks, share some information, whatever you guys want to pop on. But I have a couple baseball games here, so I haven't been caught up live on what exactly the draft is doing. So, big man, let's take it from here and just hit that first pick of the second round. and go ahead with Kevin King, because correct me if I'm wrong, you predicted that pick right out of the chute to Green Bay, correct?
I did, and I actually made a bet on it plus 205 that he would be the first pick made. Yeah, listen, I thought this was a no-brainer for the Green Bay Packers. And this is probably something that other teams, should have done that didn't. Kevin King's a good player. He's going to help them out right away. And for me, I thought it was a must pick here, an easy winner.
I completely agree. If you saw what I believe was probably a smokescreen, which is always good from a team sitting in that spot, the first pick of the second round, you have the entire day. You can put out whatever you want. You know what your draft board looks like. You probably wanted Kevin King all along, but it never hurts to say, we might be going Dalvin Cook here, and to get somebody to jump up and maybe flip picks with you where you pick up a third-round pick and you can maybe slide down 5, 6, 7 spots and still get one of the guys on your board. But I don't think anybody was really believing that. And it looks like even on the draft tracker there, they're giving that an A-plus pick right out of the gate. A 6'3" cornerback, hard to come by, hard to find those type guys. So I completely agree with that pick there, Jeff.
Yeah, and he's a guy that, he's a tough kid. He works hard. He's going to be a really good player for that team. And they addressed the need that they had to address. So great.
And by the way, Jeff, can we give some respect? I mean, me and you watch a ton of football. We were huge Washington backers all year long, won a lot of money off that team. That secondary for Washington, outrageous, wasn't it? The way it turned out?
Washington or Green Bay?
Washington, the Washington Huskies.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. No, it was sick. I can't believe, looking at it, they had that many good players.
Yes, amazing.
And what's crazy is, you look at that group. I mean, Budda Baker, Kevin King, Sidney Jones. I mean, just sick. I mean, it really is. And you can see why they were so good defensively. They were, impossible to score on. So it makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of fun there. And again, needing some situations, needing some players, needing some offensive line help. You got a guy that most probably thought was going to sneak into the first round, somewhere in that mid-20 range. Cam Robinson, offensive tackle for Alabama, goes to Jacksonville. And how do you support your running back that you just draft number 4 with? Get him a road grader out there. I know there's some questions about what he can do and what type of situations he's going to put himself into off the field as well. But you can't go wrong there. If you're going to have Blake Bortles there, you want to protect him. You pound that offensive line. If you're going to draft a guy like Leonard Fournette, give him somebody that's going to be able to move people off the line of scrimmage. I like this pick a lot, Jeff.
Yeah, this team's had a great draft so far. I mean, not only, this pick, but Leonard Fournette, obviously. They've also made picks in the later rounds, which, I'm sure we'll gloss over as well. But, yeah, I mean, I think he's the best, one of the best offensive linemen in this draft, maybe other than Forrest Lamp. He's a mean son of a bitch, and I think he's going to really help this team up front. They had no running room last year. You need some protection there for Blake Bortles and for your new draft pick, and a great pick by them.
Yeah, no question about it. Next up on the docket, a little bit of a head scratcher for me, but the draft grade I'm looking at, still giving it an A. Not to question the actual player, but question the team that took the player, maybe some other needs possible. Malik McDowell, defensive tackle out of Michigan State, goes to the Seattle Seahawks. Were you picturing something a little bit different in that situation as I was, Jeff?
Yeah, I had them taking I had Forrest Lamp going here, but yeah, I don't understand this pick, to be honest. Malik McDowell is a guy that, has a great motor. He could be a really good player, but he is a guy with some questions on laziness and things like that. Does he really want it? Which clearly you can fix, and up there, I'm sure he'll be fine. But yeah, look, I thought they had pressed more pressing needs, and they did address later in the draft with an offensive lineman. But I thought Forrest Lamp was the best player in this draft as far as offensive line's concerned, and they could have grabbed him there, and they didn't. I didn't understand this pick. I also think they could have, maybe could have went towards secondary as well at this pick. Maybe take Budda Baker and keep him home, but they didn't. They took Malik McDowell, and I'm not sure what they see here, but okay.
Yeah, yep. Keep it moving there. Pick number 36. You want to talk about a talented defense now and a talented secondary. Budda Baker goes to the Arizona Cardinals, along with earlier Hassan Reddick, the inside linebacking playmaker. They just continue to add to that side of the football. I can't get mad with adding a kid of that talent, even though you're pretty much have what you need on that defensive side of the ball, especially in the secondary. But again, just gets to the point earlier that we're bringing up there. Washington later on with what the Eagles pick. We'll go over that in just a few moments. But Kevin King going, Budda Baker going. That team was really good in the secondary. It's a shame they had to run up against an Alabama team and head, cross country to play them in SEC territory. Just a little too much to handle in that one, but a lot of respect for Washington, what they did. And we were big. I know I was, you as well, big man. Buda Baker, big fans all year long of this kid.
Yeah, one of my favorite players in the country. And I think next year the Arizona Cardinals may have the best defense in the NFL, or one of the best. They have just gamers down that depth chart. I wonder how they're going to continue to score points, because at some point you have to address the quarterback situation. You have to address the lack of receivers. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald's getting older. I mean, you have to at some point, address that. But, again, there's many picks left, but this is a home run pick. One of my favorites of the second round.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Just to update you on a game, Jeff, Harper came up, bases juiced, 1 out, and ground meekly into a double play to the pitcher, came home, and then the first base. Mets win it 7-5 as that game ends. Who would have thought that? I thought if Harper would have got up to the plate, he was definitely going to do some damage, but Superman doesn't always wear his cape, so
nope.
Didn't happen there in that one. Next pick up on the docket, East Carolina. Zay Jones goes to the Buffalo Bills as they look to get some help on the opposite side of Sammy Watkins. Major production out of Zay Jones. The kid catches the football, ultra productive. I like the pick here to the Buffalo Bills.
I think Zay Jones is, and I'm being honest, I think he will be one of the more successful wide receivers in this draft, over Corey Davis, over Mike Williams, over anyone, basically. I love him. I think he's a guy that would just catch the football. That's what he does. You look at you look at against South Carolina this year, he was unbelievable. I love Zay Jones. I had him going a little bit earlier. I had him actually a little bit later. I had him going to the Saints, which I thought that would have helped them a lot. But I got to tell you, I think the Buffalo Bills have had the best draft in overall so far. I really like what they've done so far. Zay Jones, a gamer. I love this kid.
Yeah, next pick on the board, number 38 to the Los Angeles Chargers. Still is really hard for me to say that. Adding Forrest Lamp to the offensive line, something they desperately need to get a little bit younger, get obviously a little bit healthier. 6'4", 309. The pick comes out early as a B+. I love the pick there. Protect the old man in the pocket. And Forrest Lamp looked tremendous this year. Jeff, coming from Conference USA, again, I love these kids because we're used to seeing them and the way they play. I know they kept on running the tape up there of how well he played versus Alabama, but that was only a small part of the spectrum. That offense moved up and down the field in no small part to Forrest Lamp and how well he played his tackle position.
Yeah, I think he, like I said, is the best offensive lineman in this draft. Just a road grader up front, a mean kid, a big kid. I was surprised he fell this far, to be honest with you. I mean, you look at that offensive line. I mean, King Dunlap started for a lot of time with them. They do have Joe Barksdale and Okung, but Matt Slauson and Donovan Clark, not exactly who you want. This is going to help them right away. He will protect Phillip Rivers for a good period of time, and they had Mike Williams. They've had a pretty nice draft so far as well. Interested to see where they go in a division that I think is kind of up in the air. I think anyone can win that division. I think it's one of the more competitive in the NFL.
Yep. Going to be an interesting situation too, Jeff. How about in an environment where you're going to go play in Los Angeles in a stadium that normally are cavernous in the NFL, 60, 70, 80. Dallas can fit up to almost 100,000 people in that environment. A little bit over 30,000 seats. How interesting is that?
Say that one more time, Donnie. Didn't hear.
A little bit over the environment that you're going to be playing with the Los Angeles Chargers and the Los Angeles Rams at this point, playing in a soccer stadium that really fits. If you've ever been, Jeff, down to Chester on the waterfront where the Union play, I mean, they're going to play in something similar to that, to a wild type of atmosphere, almost more of a high schoolish feel. So kind of interesting to see how that's going to play out in the next NFL season.
I will say this: I'm not a fan of them leaving San Diego. Look, I know
I can't stand it. I really can't.
And look, I'm not sure if you've ever seen Qualcomm Stadium, but it is quite the eyesore for that city. But they have good fans out there. It's a shame that they left. Football is just not the same without San Diego. While not a great organization lately, but I will miss seeing it there.
Yeah, the Powder Blues, I mean, they belong in San Diego. They're a lifer in San Diego. And again, it always gets back to just ripping off the fans. You hold the town, you hold the team, you hold the state hostage. I mean, how would you like it, Jeff? You're in your apartment or wherever, say, you know what? Lancaster or Lancaster County, want to build a house, need you to pay 90% of it. And they go, get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? Just leave now. That's what NFL teams do to NFL, big states. They pay for 90% of my house or I'm leaving. And they almost do it all the time.
It's like eminent domain, basically. I mean, they just they kind of have control, and they just say, you know what we say goes, and if you don't like it, then don't watch it.
It's unbelievable. By the way, good points there, Jeff. I mean, we all know Qualcomm, and they let that go to complete garbage. I believe, was it this year, Jeff, in the bowl game? Maybe got a little bit of a rain. Looked like they didn't even give a damn. Didn't even replace the surface. I mean, just what a mess they let that go. And I guess that's when you're fighting with the city, the state's fighting, everybody's fighting against each other. You're saying to yourself, I'm not making any improvements. I want out of here. And the city goes, well, if you're leaving, we're not making any improvements. I mean, what a disaster.
Yeah, it's a shit show. I've been out there a couple of times. I've driven by it. It looks like the Roman Coliseum, really. If you've ever seen that, it's just like a drabby place, just, gray and ugly. And, FedEx Field's another shit show, Redskins Stadium.
I've been there multiple times, yep.
So, yeah, it's definitely an eyesore that they can get rid of.
Yeah, next one up on the docket here, Jeff. We'll go to the Jets. Loading up in the secondary, specifically at safety. Marcus May out of Florida, 6 foot 216. Well, I'm having a problem here with this pick because I'm just saying, I don't know why they would have went back to safety again. There's a lot of holes that the Jets needed. Is he a good football player? Yeah, he's a good football player. But you go safety. Is that really prudent to do?
This is an awful pick by the Jets, and it doesn't surprise me. Another inept group, the New York Jets. Yeah, look, I mean, at some point, you're going to have to score the football. You're going to have to score points. And, you had quarterbacks there again, but I guess they just continue to feel that the quarterbacks they have will be good enough. Look, I don't – maybe you don't think Deshaun Kaiser's ready for the NFL, but I would have liked to have seen Davis Webb maybe there. I had Kaiser going there, but there are plenty of offensive players. Dalvin Cook was on the board there, Donnie, but I guess we'll keep worried about Matt Forte, the injury-prone Matt Forte. A bad pick.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
If you're going to take a safety, Donnie, it wouldn't be Marcus May, honestly. I had Marcus May at 62. I thought at 39, that's a little bit of a reach for Marcus.
Yeah, I mean, even looking at that, like you basically hit a home run with who you drafted in the first round. Like, why would he's good enough to carry that secondary and get everybody in the right position. I don't think you go, your second pick in the draft and just say, hey, let's just double down and put another kid back there. Hey, maybe it works out. Maybe it's revolutionary. Like you're taking 2 tight ends and you're going to dominate. So I need 2 safeties to handle, that up the seam play. But I don't know.
If you take Dalvin Cook there, they turn into one of the better drafts in the NFL. But they didn't. So, yeah, they had a great pick, like you said, but second pick was.
Now, how about this next one, Jeff? Let's go down to Carolina. They get the Swiss Army knife, Christian McCaffrey. They double down and take just about the same exact player in Curtis Samuel. I mean, I like multiple weapons. Maybe they can employ them, on the field at the same time. It's going to be a problem. But he's almost a clone of what Christian McCaffrey does. I mean, I like Christian McCaffrey better, don't get me wrong. But this is another Percy Harvin type of player that doesn't have a true technical position. You want to run him, give him a couple handoffs. You want to put him in the slot. You want to put him out wide. Jack, Swiss Army knife again, like McCaffrey. Kind of an interesting pick. I mean, I don't hate the pick because I like the probabilities that he can give, but it just doesn't make that much sense to me.
I don't hate this pick just because you did lose Ted Ginn and Philly Brown, which, makes sense here, taking a receiver. I guess they're going to have him play in the slot. Look, for me, I would have went safety here. I would have went, with where did I have them going here? I had them taking I actually had them taking a wide receiver. I had them taking D.D. Westbrook, though, not Curtis Samuel. Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, you could – maybe this is where you take, a secondary player. You look at that secondary, Donnie. Kurt Coleman.
Losing Josh Norman killed him.
James Bradbury, Mike Adams, and Captain Munnerlyn. Yep. I mean, Captain Munnerlyn's still in the league. I mean, my God. I would have took a cornerback. And, here's the problem, and I think this is where ESPN was absolutely fantastic in their draft coverage today. One thing I do like about Todd McShay and Louis Riddick, they explain why teams make picks like they do. And the reason why you're seeing all these cornerbacks go off the board is it's very difficult to find defensive players late in the draft. I mean, big road graders on the defensive line or good cornerbacks. I mean, I think they're striking out here, Carolina, as far as, look, the first pick, okay, but I didn't really understand this pick. You have a colossal need in the secondary that you failed to address.
Yeah. No, completely agree there. Next pickup sort of broke my heart. I mean, if everybody's been watching the show, you know I was very high on getting Dalvin Cook. Even thought there might have been an opportunity to get him in the first round. Obviously, nobody chose him in the first round. He went well into the second round, so maybe a little bit more red flags than Jeff or I or anybody else was privy to. Maybe an injury history or the people that he was hanging out with. I don't know what it was, but the trade up there and for Minnesota to replace, I guess it would be Adrian Peterson for Dalvin Cook. Good move by them. You get a real playmaker there. Maybe they could have used something in some other spots in that situation, but a true home run hitter, playmaker, great player. I like the move. They gave it a B on CBS. I give it a little bit higher there just because he's an overall playmaker in a position of need. Maybe help Sam Bradford out. And I really wish he dropped to the Eagles, Jeff.
Well, when they traded up, I pretty much knew it was over at that point because, there's a reason they traded up. There's a reason that, Adrian Peterson's not on this team anymore. And look, I know they got Latavius Murray, but come on. Latavius Murray and Dalvin Cook may be a little different. Now they all of a sudden have two good running backs. So, yeah, when they drafted up, I knew it was over. So.
Yeah, word on the street. It leaked out. The Eagles were in love with Christian McCaffrey, but they're not going to pay that price to move up from 14 to 8. You're going to have to get ahead of Carolina. So you would have to go even up to 7. Would have cost too much. Everybody knew they were hot and heavy on Cook. Maybe, smoke screening that because – if you looked at Minnesota, obviously having to trade ahead of the Eagles to get him, knowing that if somebody was lasting there, Dalvin Cook was probably going to the Eagles. So good move by the ownership there from Minnesota, jumping ahead and just taking the ball out of the equation.
By the way, and for anyone next year that doesn't know about this, I think some of the best draft prop value is second round. Yeah. Because a lot of the time, it's a need part of the draft where teams are actually drafting for need, not exactly for best player available. Mm-hmm. And I didn't do great in props last night, but I shut the board in the props today, and this was one of them. I'd laid a little wood. I laid 195 here, but it was kind of a foregone conclusion. Dalvin Cook would be the first pick in the draft, running back wise. So yeah, there's definitely value in the draft in the second round for sure.
Yeah, craziness in baseball. Bottom to 7, just to give you an update. Milwaukee is now 8-7 with Atlanta, so that one's tightening in. Can never give up with some of these teams' bullpen. So some interesting factors there. Getting back to the draft, Jeff. 42nd on the board. The New Orleans Saints go Marcus Williams, free safety out of Utah. I like the pick. They need help on defense. They got the corner they needed. Now they got the free safety they need. So moving on the up. Correct. I haven't really delved through New Orleans. I want to assume Vaccaro is still there in the secondary as the other safety position.
He is.
Yeah. So, they're loading up back there. Good move by them. The defense has always stunk, so you got to make some move up, make some ends meet, and they certainly did that here.
Yeah, you look at all of a sudden their secondary. Marshawn Lattimore, who probably is the best cornerback in the draft. They still have Von Bell at free safety. They still have Kenny Vaccaro, but now you throw in Marcus Williams, who, for anyone that doesn't know Marcus Williams, good ball hawking safety, comes from a good school out in Utah, well coached. I like Marcus Williams. I actually had him going to the Dallas Cowboys a little bit later in the draft, so I am kind of happy they drafted him as opposed to the Cowboys.
Big Red, by the way, we'll get to these picks a little bit later, but I just want to give you an update. One of our favorite players that I've ever watched in college football, Kareem Hunt, gets taken by the Kansas City Chiefs. Big Red gets a good football player there and gets him in the third round. I've always rooted for that kid, and I'm going to continue to root for him as well.
Yeah, I would have liked to see the Eagles grab him.
I love them.
What do you think of Donnell Pumphrey? I'll dispel Donnell Pumphrey pretty quick. Look, great college player. He's a little too small for the NFL, if you ask me. Could he be a Darren Sproles? Maybe. Could he be a Tyreek Hill? Sure. I'll be interested to see where he goes.
Where's he projected at, Jeff, by the way?
Later rounds. I would say 5th or 6th.
Yeah, 5th or 6th. Okay. Yeah. All right, keep it moving here. Getting to the 43rd pick in the draft. Probably the best corner on the board. And I'm sort of coming around a little bit more to this pick. I didn't hate the pick when it came through. I didn't love the pick because if you know my stance, I'm not big on taking guys that are injured, a bad knee, bulky Achilles. But from all the doctor reports that are coming back from I'm reading through here, seems like he's going to be 100%. They don't know, and they're not going to rush him back. But if he comes back, Jeff, and he's 100%, that's going to be a fantastic pick for the Philadelphia Eagles, knowing, A, we needed cornerback, and B, the receivers in the future that we're going to have to stop in the NFC East.
Look, I've definitely just mentioned I love Washington. I love what they did. I love the guys they had. But look, I love Sidney Jones. I'm not going to tell you I don't. But why not just draft a cornerback that is healthy?
It's almost like an epidemic in Philadelphia. Like we're almost prone to waiting now for some reason. So when you take a Sidney Jones, like, hey, if Sidney Jones doesn't get hurt, obviously, where's the kid going? Top 7 picks, Jeff? Would you say? He was exploding off the charts. 6 foot, 181, makes all the plays, everything. Yeah.
Giants take Davis Webb, by the way.
Yeah, how about that? They were hot and heavy from a home. So we joked about it last night on the chat board about Eli.
I got to tell you, and look, I don't call myself a draft expert, but I had him going 45th, Donnie. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you how sharp I am, Donnie. 5 times had the over-under at Davis Webb at 45.5. So 87th is really good value for
That's
Davis
just a
Webb.
system knock on him. I mean, we've watched Cal. I watched Cal a lot this year. I bet a lot of Cal football games, specifically overs. There's that one there. I stole that Arizona State Cal game somehow with a return on an onside kick, which was a great one. I mean, we always remember those great victories like that. But yeah, Davis Webb, I mean, very impressive kid. I loved, by the way, Hansen is in this draft too, correct? His wide receiver?
Chris Hansen, yep.
Chris Hansen, yeah. Has he gone yet or?
No.
He's going to go probably.
By the way, I mean, this Giants team made it a point to make it clear that they were looking to get Patrick Mahomes also.
Yeah.
Look, this is what I'll say. I'll come out and say it. Davis Webb, I think, is going to be the most successful quarterback out of all these guys.
Ooh, this draft, quarterback, okay.
So that's just my opinion. I won't get into it. But, yeah, as far as Sidney Jones, I've almost expected this team at this point, other than Carson Wentz, to let me down in drafts. So, look, I'm not saying I'm let down by this pick. It's if it works, it'll be fine. But I don't think this team is that far away. And for me, I would have liked to have seen a quarterback going into training camp and OTAs that's on the field.
Yeah.
I don't want to see my second-round pick in November getting reps, just to give him reps. It sucks.
Bring him along slow. If he's really healthy, maybe we'll put him on the pup, that first 8-week pup now that they have, and slowly bring him along, give him some nickel situations. I get it, but he's not really going to be a football player until 2018. I don't think there's any question about that.
Yep.
Next up on the board, Gerald Everett, a guy, Jeff, I don't know too much about, tight end from South Alabama, even though I do watch a lot of South Alabama football. Wasn't a guy that I absolutely was sticking out on the page. Looks like CBS gave him a grade of C heading to the Rams. It's up to you, big man. Like that pick or not, I'm just sort of blah on that one.
I love that pick, actually.
Yeah, okay,
number 12, Jared Everett. He had a great game against Mississippi State. Good hands. The one issue you have with him is, can he block at an NFL level? Problem is, you don't really need to block anymore as a tight end. I'll give him kind of a comparison to like a Jared Cook, maybe someone like that.
Same body frame. Yep.
Yeah, sure. I like Jared Everett though. I remember watching a game with Ryan earlier this year. It was a Mississippi State game, I believe, and I remember saying to him, I think he's an NFL player, and he is. I think that's a good pick by the Rams. I think he's going to help them right away.
No, it should be interesting. I didn't have too much on him there. Adam Shaheen, tight end, Ashland, goes to the Bears, a C- pick. I can't agree anymore. Maybe he has upside. Maybe he's the next Rob Gronkowski. But to me, I know he was a fast riser and his workouts were great. And they're showing clips of what looked like he was 21 and everybody else was in 4th grade that he was running by and running over. So I don't trust the Bears. I can't stand what they did in the first round. And then it looks like they're just doubling down on nonsense in the second. Hey, c'est la vie if he works out and he's fantastic. Congratulations, Bears. But I don't see this pick. I have no idea why they did this.
This could be the worst draft in the history of drafts by any team. I'm being serious. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what this team's doing. I don't know if they're like looking at a situation. Maybe they're saying, you know what? We're just going to tank this year. This is a hideous draft, if you ask me. Hideous. This is a horrible draft by the Chicago Bears so far. Horrible. And I'm not just saying it because he went to Ashland University. I'm not saying anything like that. But this team has no playmakers. They're doing everything backwards.
But it's not even like maybe he does, Jeff, turn into a playmaker. But look at we're going to get to it. The talent that went like behind him. And that's what you're going to come up with. And you're going to take Trubisky. Like, honestly, like, I don't feel bad because I don't give a damn about the Chicago Bears. But I could just imagine, like in the past, when I know my Eagles have made terrible picks and we're not even a good football team. You know what I mean?
Yanks walk it off.
How about that? What extra innings was it? What inning?
I think the 10th. But yeah, no, just to confirm what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of, Juju Smith-Schuster's on the board here. Deontay Freeman's on the board here. Alvin Kamara's on the board here. There's plenty of guys here that you can take to help your football team on the offensive end, and they have not done that. They take a guy that up until 2 weeks ago, no one even knew about. I mean, Todd McShay. When Todd McShay doesn't know who it is until a week ago, there's a problem. A terrible pick.
And again, and you saw the stuff coming out. I mean, forget about just making bad connections in the front office there and bad picks. How about like John Fox is your head coach, and they try to play the word breaks in the story like they left him completely out of this move up to take a quarterback, and then just break the news to him there, and then they try to spin it backwards saying he was in the loop all along. What a front office fracture where nobody's on the same page, and then it comes out where looks like both of your first 2 picks very questionable at best.
No, they're not questionable. They're the worst picks in the draft. And I don't want to hear that whole, they have a running back. Who's their running back?
Howard, right?
Blow me. Jordan.
Yeah, next, I mean, just a bad pick. Next up there, Quincy Wilson, cornerback from Florida. I loved Florida's defense all season long. Going to the Colts, you're never going to hear a peep out of me. Yeah, go ahead, man.
How about those Clippers? Look at Jackson.
3 points in 8 minutes and 40 seconds. What's the score? Let me check that.
How about those Jazz? The next pick, you said the Colts?
Yeah, Colts. You can't. I mean, they're going with a cornerback. I can't ever fault them. They just always need help on defense.
Yeah, sorry, I don't watch the Bears. We know you do though, because you know everything. We're fully aware that.
I didn't like the Fox transition. I haven't liked the way the Bears have run their front office because I think they're ultimately cheap with the McCaskey family. You own that city, Chicago. It's a massive city. You have it all to yourself, and it just seems like from the stadium, rebuild that looks like a spaceship and looks like just total garbage to for some reason. They just can't let grass grow or replace grass and have the worst surface of all time. It seems like every single year. It's just a complete mess. Like, how's there a stadium where the NFL can't tell you how to dictate it? And why is the Parks and Recreation of Chicago run the actual field and not the actual team itself? You're going to have 17 to 20 playoff games in high school football on that field. Don't replace the service and then run the Bears out there. I mean, give me a break with that.
Yeah, brutal organization. Good pick by the Colts. Filling a need here. Quincy Wilson out of Florida. Good pick here. I don't have much to say. I think it's a good pick. I think it fills a need that they needed, and they went out and did it. It's a nice pick by this team here at 46.
Yeah, interesting one here coming up on the next pick. Baltimore at 47. Tyus Bowser, outside linebacker, Houston, fits what Baltimore does. They like guys that can get after the quarterback, outside linebackers. And again, the way Baltimore drafts, I just trust Ozzie Newsome. They're going to give him a B in this on the CBS Sports Tracker. I'll have to agree with it the same because I'm going to give Ozzie Newsome the benefit of the doubt over anything. So if he thought Bowser was the right spot to go in that situation, he's probably going to be a plug-and-play type of guy, get after the quarterback. I like the pick.
I think it's one of the best picks in the second round, Donnie, actually. I think he was a guy, Tyus Bowser, who missed some games last year, but I think to me, other than the first round picks and maybe Jared Cunningham, I think he's the best linebacker in this draft. Probably top 5 as far as linebackers concerned. Yeah. Love this pick here. I really like Tyus Bowser out of Houston.
Interesting one that we're all going to talk about probably for a long time, depending how everything goes down. Joe Mixon to the Bengals, and I say it all the time over the years. The Bengals do one thing that mimics sort of what the Dallas Cowboys do. The team is run by the Brown family. They, if there's 36 people in the Brown family, they all hold front office positions and jobs and GM and do everything. So they don't fire themselves. Cincinnati built them a stadium. They've been in the league for 1 million years. They used to run it extremely cheap where they had the lowest amount of scouts. They literally would pull their scouts off the road. Scouts weren't able to fly to like Alabama and scout teams. They just would keep them at home to try to save money. All that used to go into the equation. But the one thing I do sort of give them credit for, Jeff, is they take talent. They don't care if you've been arrested 37 times in the last 3 months. If you're talented, they will take you. Joe Mixon is a steal at this position, and they don't give a damn what he did or what he means to their fan base. So I got to give him a little bit of credit there for just going alone, saying, hey, if you're talented, I'll get you on the cheap. I'll get you in the second round. I don't have to pay you first-round money and come on aboard.
I have nothing to say about this pick.
But also on this pick, Jeff, you already have good running backs on that team. Like, I get the talent is there, But did you need, like, if you were going to take a limb on this thing, like, yo, just say the Eagles took him, like, look, we needed a running back. He's too talented to pass up. And you say, well, bad guy, but I see sort of your point here. They have two damn good running backs already, and now you throw him into the mix, and you take the PR hit, and ESPN did a straight hit piece as soon as he was picked, which I sort of got a chuckle out of. I don't see what you gain here other than getting a super talented player. But was it worth it? You really didn't need a running back.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if he breaks his leg, to be honest. I have nothing else to say. Let's move on to the next pick. I'm not going to give him, and again, I know I'm not on SportsCenter, but I'm not going to give Joe Mixon the satisfaction of talking about him anymore. I'm done with it. All know where I stand on the situation. I don't care if he's fucking Walter Payton. I'm not interested in drafting Joe Mixon. I wish everything bad to happen to Joe Mixon. I hope nothing good comes from his life, and I think he's a piece of shit. And the sad thing is, you or I, if that's us, we do 5 years in jail and get a felony on our record for the rest of our lives, and we'll never be able to get a job again. Unfortunately, though, Joe Mixon is some god at Oklahoma and now earn millions.
Paid the price and redshirted. Don't you agree?
No, I don't.
I know. Next.
To the girl that did it. That got hit.
Ryan Anderson goes to the Washington Redskins, the 49 spot. Jeff, I love the draft so far for the Washington Redskins. They needed defense. They got defense. They got two guys with high energy, good motors, can get after it. I have nothing to say but good things, and I want to hate the Redskins, but I love their first two picks in the draft here, Jeff.
I agree. Totally. I think that, look, do I want to see them do well? Sure, of course I don't. I just don't. I can't say I don't like these picks. Of course I do.
Yeah, no, we'll keep it moving. I was just typing something in the chat box. Pick number 50, Justin Evans, strong safety, Texas A&M. I don't have much on him. Reed out there has great range, but isn't a great tackler. It's a position of need, so they're going to give him a B+ on CBS. Justin Evans, Jeff, got anything on him there?
I do not. He was not in the second round for me.
Next up, DeMarcus Walker, Florida State. And again, I like the way John Elway drafts a lot, Jeff. I mean, he takes the talent when it's there for positions of need. Just seems that they draft later and later, but their picks still say the same. Very good, DeMarcus Walker. They give him a B on CBS here. Highly productive. Watched him a lot, obviously being a Hurricanes fan. I think he fits right in. You're going to lose DeMarcus Ware. You pick up a DeMarcus Walker, and you get after it again.
Yeah, no, great pick. I think he's a guy to Florida State that is a great motor. I did hear some laziness issues from him, but yeah, no, I think as a defensive end, I think it'll help this team right away. And that's the thing, Donnie, with a lot of these picks, it's hard to find picks that are bad. I mean, there's a couple, and that's why I'm going to say this. I mean, I don't think we should go through every single pick because people will get bored. I mean, it'll take forever. But DeMarcus Walker is a pick that I think will help them. I also think. Obviously like their first pick as well. But, yeah, I mean, I think they've had a pretty decent draft so far with the picks that they've had.
Cleveland gets their quarterback and goes after Deshaun Kaiser. Notre Dame, 6'4", 233. CBS is giving them a B. I'm not a huge Deshaun Kaiser fan, but they did need a quarterback, so I sort of give them a little bit of props, not trading their whole draft away, trading up in the first round for somebody questionable. At least they went for somebody questionable here in the middle of the second round. Just to give an update here, Minnesota now tied 4-4 in the top of the eighth inning. Men on second and third, one out, and it almost looked like that was a grand slam that was hit, and they might even review it here in Kansas City. So an interesting one there. But Deshaun Kaiser, Jeff, give me some thoughts.
I mean, look, I don't have many thoughts. I mean, I don't think this quarterback draft isn't that good. I mean, I don't know how else to say that. Do I like Deshaun Kaiser? I don't think he's going to play right away. I don't think the Browns for this team, I don't think this is their franchise quarterback or anything. Look, I guess. I mean, they need a quarterback, but this team's another one that just does everything backwards. So I don't really know about this pick. I would have took Davis Webb if I were them, but I guess they're the Browns and they know more than me, right?
Yeah, next pick up there, Detroit. Again, like what they're doing in the draft here. Tease Tabor, 6'1", 199. I know he had a bad combine. Some thoughts that they had a pulled hamstring or whatever, but He's one of the best cornerbacks in college football the past few seasons. I was actually hoping that somehow he would slip over to the Philadelphia Eagles, but they give him a C here on CBS, and I disagree with them there. I think he's a playmaker. I think he's a good cornerback, and I think he'll do well there in Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit's obviously going defense. I mean, that's kind of their idea here. That's what they've been doing. And, yeah, I mean, they take Tabor here who, has some injury concerns from what I understand. But, yeah, I mean, they're getting better. They have to get better in the secondary, and I think they did that.
Yeah. Next pick up on the docket here, Raekwon McMillan, highly productive inside linebacker from Ohio State, 6'2", 240, heads of the Dolphins. So they go defensive end and also go with inside linebacker here. So beefing up that defense. I like the pick. Again, this is a great draft here. I mean, you're looking at pick number 54, getting solid value and getting everything that they need. So interesting stuff here.
Yeah, no, Raekwon McMillan, again, they needed a linebacker. They went out and got one. Look, I'm not a big Ohio State guy, but this kid was a baller. I mean, he really was. And look, that's the common thing, Donnie. I mean, Zach Cunningham at 57, great pick. I think he's going to help Houston right away. Evan Posich from LSU, he goes to Seattle. They address a need. Again, I would have liked to see them do it sooner, but they didn't. A lot of these teams made uniform decisions, the right decisions. I liked the pick by the Steelers taking Smith-Schuster. I think they needed to address getting a receiver. I know they have Antonio Brown, but some of their younger picks haven't really worked out. I like Deion Dawkins going to the Bills. I think the Bills have had one of the best drafts in the draft so far. But it's not likely, and I haven't seen that many horrible picks. There have been a couple though.
Yeah, no, just to give you another update here, Joakim Suri is getting destroyed for Kansas City. It's now 6-4, Minnesota in the top of the 8th inning. One Kyle Gibson game. Looks like they might pull out a winner there, so kind of interesting to keep an update. Let's skip down a couple picks here, Jeff, and we'll go over some of the guys that we liked. Number 57 of the Houston Texans, Zach Cunningham, outside linebacker, Vanderbilt. If you watched him with Vanderbilt, that guy was a man-child out there. He's getting a B-plus rating here. I agree with the pick to the Houston Texans. Loading up on that defense and continue to load up on it. I like the pick, Jeff.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best linebackers in the draft, Donnie. And I think Houston, Brian Cushing getting up there, they have a need for a linebacker. I think Zach Cunningham's a guy at Vanderbilt, one of my favorite players in the SEC as far as
one guy, Jeff, we were looking at also. Slide it down to 60 with the Dallas Cowboys. Awuzie, cornerback from Colorado, goes to Dallas. Great draft pick by Dallas, man. I mean, that's exactly what they were looking for. A good corner fell to them at the 60th position there. He's getting an A rating here for that spot and where he's going. And, Jeff, I agree.
Yeah, and, I will say this, Donnie. This is why the Dallas Cowboys continue to get better and the Philadelphia Eagles sit in kind of, mud in your tires mode. They take Awuzie here. He's going to play next year. They just drafted Jordan Lewis at 92. They're getting much better on the defensive end. While the Eagles, while they took a pass rusher that I love, they draft a cornerback that's not going to play next year. So, look, I mean, at some point I want to look to the Eagles and say, I love that pick. Yeah. I like Derek Barnett. I kind of like Sidney Jones. I don't love.
Yeah, we didn't have a splash pick yet. You know what I mean? And you're probably not going to get it from here on out. But we're going to have to go over some Dallas picks too. Looks like Dallas is killing this draft. Next up, we'll go over.
Jordan Lewis. I mean, that's a great pick. I will say this, Ryan, my good friend Ryan, Ryan, Donnie.
Yeah, sure.
He just asked me about our thoughts of Samaje Perine at 99. Look, I think this team needs a running back. He's the guy from Oklahoma I would look for.
It's a great draft for the Cowboys, man. My gosh.
Yeah, no, I
Carlton, Awuzie, and Lewis, man. That's really
what
good.
I just said. And they added Nolan Carroll as well in the offseason.
Yeah.
I mean, look, they're planning to win right now, and they should be. And the Eagles are, screwing around and drafting people that are injured. I mean, it's not surprising.
Pick number 62, an interesting one. Juju Smith-Schuster, wide receiver, Southern California, goes to the Steelers. They just keep ramping up and giving Big Ben some weapons to deal with. Overall pick looks like to be a B. It's an interesting one because I think the Steelers could have got a little bit of help in other places. I didn't think they needed wide receiver help with the amount of talent they already have there. But when you add talented guys to your team, I really can't get that upset by it, you know?
What pick was that, Donnie, you're on there?
62 was it, I believe? Pittsburgh Steelers, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, Donnie, are you not hearing me when I'm saying stuff?
No, what? I didn't.
I feel like I feel like you repeated me in the last 5 minutes, like several times.
We didn't even get down to that pick yet. I didn't hear you say anything about him, did you?
No. I mentioned I thought this was a really good pick. I thought, with some of their yeah. Are we staying on for the pick here, Donnie, or are we wrapping this up?
For what pick? The Eagles?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know. You don't want to go over any more picks?
I mean, we are, getting to the point. I don't want to stay on too long, but yeah, we can keep going.
No, I'm good. I don't have much. I haven't even watched any of these picks come in the third round yet. I've just been watching baseball before that. So you can go ahead. When did the Eagles pick come in?
6 or 7 away.
No, there's no use to that. That's another half hour in there. Yeah. Any other surprises like later in the draft? Because I haven't even gone down any of these ones.
Chance Wormley. The Ravens take Chance Wormley, which I like that pick. They just keep getting better on defense. They just keep drafting defensive players. Trent Taylor, Western Kentucky, or is it Twan Taylor? I got to see which Taylor it is.
Yeah, Twan Taylor went 72.
Yeah,
that's more help for Mariota. So that's certainly an interesting one for you.
Yep, to the Titans. Carlos Henderson goes to the Broncos at 82. Great pick there. I think he's going to be a professional that really helps the Denver Broncos. I liked Carlos Henderson, good kick returner as well. David Rivers, Youngstown State, one of the better linebackers in the country that you haven't heard of. He goes to the Patriots. They just get stronger. Kareem Hunt, great pick for the Chiefs at 86 overall. He's going to help them right away. Deontay Foreman, he went pretty low. I thought he would go a lot higher than he did. He goes to the Texans. Nice draft there. We mentioned the Jordan Lewis pick as well. The Steelers just selected at 94 Cameron Sutton, a quarterback from Tennessee, a good pick there as well. So a lot of familiar names and a lot of guys that we're familiar with that are making teams better. With all these good names, with all these awesome names, I need a good pick here at 99, Donnie.
Yeah, who's up on the board that you would like on there, or who's left?
There's plenty of people left.
But who would you see that might slip down to? Like Tankersley looks like he's still on the board. Cornerback. Any other cornerbacks that we got left out here?
Yeah, I mean, I would look.
Sutton's going now.
For me, I would look Desmond King, a cornerback out of Iowa. I would also look at Pirine, like I said, a running back. I mentioned I like DeMonte Casey. I think you can get him though, maybe in the 4th round. I
like to pick Tim Williams to Tim Williams to Baltimore as well. Good one.
Oh, yeah. You mentioned that. Yeah, I thought you mentioned taking him. I like Carl Lawson, but they kind of addressed the defensive end last night, so he wouldn't be someone I'd look to. For me, it would be Desmond King or a Pirine or Casey. I do like DeMonte Casey, but I feel like you can get him out of San Diego State a little bit later in the draft. I think the Steelers got Juju Smith, which means Martavius Bryant is gone. Did anyone take Kaya? No. He's still on the board. He's actually in top 10 best available, though. Delano Hill, great pick from Seattle. Delano Hill from Michigan, good safety. They continue to get better and address the secondary, which, Legion of Boom's kind of getting a little bit old, a little bit frail. So a nice pick by them, Delano Hill out of Michigan from Seattle. Picks are continuing to come in. They're firing in, Donnie. But we're going to go. Good show tonight as always.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, we kind of went all over the place. Yeah, but 12:30 tomorrow. We'll be back on for the right side of campus. We'll go over the card like we did today. Fun show. And guys, I wanted before we go kind of just address something to everyone on here. Donnie and I are trying to build our show here. It's a late night show. I know it's for a lot of people tougher to get on as opposed to the show during the day.
Yeah.
We have great listener base during the day, but this is something we're trying to build. So look, tell your friends, tell your family, tell anyone that likes sports. We're obviously open to a lot of questions. Whatever look, there are some people that, we do get, have some fun with, but, a lot of the time we'll take questions, answer questions. If we can help, we'll give you help. And, that's how we build shows. That's how I built my own podcast when I did it every day. And that's how SBR's built up, 28,289 subscribers. So, it's about getting people back more interested in sports betting on a daily basis, and telling your friends and telling people that you think will like the show to come join us. But we're mainstays. Obviously, everyone knows. We'll be on tomorrow, and we'll break down the card in baseball. As far as any thoughts on Napoli Inter, I'll be honest, in Robinson, and I should have probably thrown this in quick. I'm not a big fan of Serie A late in the season. I have a major concern that most of the games are touched in a way, if you know what I mean, Donnie. In Italy, there are issues still with match fixing. There are issues kind of beneath the surface that we don't know much about. You see a lot of teams that maybe shouldn't win games. I'm just not a big Serie A bettor. I like Juve and I like to watch the league, but I don't have particularly a lot on that. Inter is a weird team. I haven't even looked at Serie A much other than the game today. So I'm sorry, man. I can't really help you on that. I have to get the soccer together because I was spending all day with the draft here. So I don't have anything yet.
Now, we'll have some fun tomorrow. Check us out there at SBR Sports Picks. Once again, get down there, SBR Sportsbook Review. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do that. Climbing up every day. By tomorrow morning, Jeff, I want to see at least 28,300 on there. As always, check out SBRodds.com. And we are the late night on campus. As I said, we will have the right side of campus Saturday edition, Jeff, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll stack that deck again. We'll find some winners in baseball. A lot on the card, Jeff. I know you're going to talk boxing tomorrow. We'll have some fun, but that's going to be it for tonight, folks. Hope you enjoyed the show. I'm Donnie Rightside. He's the big man on campus, Jeff Nadu. Take care, fellas.
See you guys.